Hello, hello. Welcome to my channel at 1111 Oracle. And welcome back, of course, if you are a returning subscriber. Your support, your likes, your comments mean a lot to me, and I'm feeling the positive vibes here, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you, and thank you for stopping by. Today we're going to be talking about clairaudience, one of my personal favorites, clairaudience. Clair coming from the French word clair, which means clear, and audience would be referring to your hearing, so your ability to hear clearly, hearing, the psychic ability of clear hearing. So we're going to get into what that is all about in a moment. I'd like to encourage you to check out my other videos in the Psychic Ability series, Claircognizance, Clairvoyance, there we go, that was the other one, that was the first one I did. But if you're really just coming here to check out what clairaudience is all about, I do encourage you to practice some form of psychic protection before you're really moving forward to develop your abilities. And I also encourage you to maybe watch my psychic protection video, and you can see a little bit about some of the things that you can do to protect yourself from negative vibrations, entities, people, not necessarily only from spirits that are negative, right? So psychic protection is a really, really important one to delve into and to develop some kind of a routine, some kind of a practice, because when you open yourself up to your abilities, of course, you are going to be more sensitive and attract all kinds of other stuff your way. So you want to make sure that you are protected. Okay, clairaudience, though. We're going to talk about what it is and how you can recognize it within yourself. I'm also going to give you guys some examples of how clairaudience plays into my life, and you can, take note of what I'm saying and see if it stocks up to your experiences, or if you've had different experiences. Of course, everyone is unique, and we all experience things in our own way. All right. So there's no better or worse. Now, before I get into clairaudience, I do want to mention a promotion that I have ongoing for first-timers for a personal reading. If you want a one-on-one personal hour-long Zoom reading, my services and options for different styles of readings are in my website. You can check that out with the link in the description below. You also have my email there. And so the way you would go about booking a reading would be emailing me. Now, if you do want the discount is 50% off. That is 50, half off the regular price. With details in the description below as well. So all you have to do is email me a screenshot of your subscription to my channel and let me know what kind of reading you would like, and then we'll move forward from there, and I look forward to connecting with you shortly. If you're not interested in a Zoom reading, but you have maybe a few questions you'd like to ask, and maybe you just have the one question, I am also offering a $1 a question readings through email. So if you're interested in that, again, email me and we'll move forward from there to arrange, what the next steps are. All exchanges are done in USD only. Okay. All right, so let's get right into clairaudience. And by the way, stick around to the very end where we are going to have a bonus pick a card, if you will. I feel like that's the generic name. I'm not sure that I'm necessarily going to use cards or anything else. I'll leave it up to spirit to guide me, whether I just channel or whether I pick a card or I pick a rune, or we'll see what other impressions and inspirations might come my way. But yeah, you're going to have 3 choices at the very end for a bonus, I'll say, quote unquote, pick a card, channeled reading, which would be a better way of putting it. And at that point, you can ask any question you want in regards to your clairaudient abilities, and see if my answer resonates with what you are looking for. All right. So let's talk about clairaudience. So what is clairaudience? There's a lot of misconception about clairaudience. It is, I think, in many ways, one of the most confusing psychic abilities. Claircognizance is definitely very mysterious, because the way claircognizance works is that you just get an instant download and you just know something and you don't know how you know it, that type of thing. Clairaudience kind of works in a similar way, because it can be a very mental type of psychic ability as well. But it is there's a little more to it than just having a knowing, right? Because we're talking about your inner ear and hearing, quote unquote. Now, the misconception with clairaudience is that someone who is clairaudient literally hears a physical voice, and that would be the only indication that you're clairaudient. I mean, I assume that, when we're beginning to look at the different abilities, we might think that the scope of clairaudience is very limited to just the physical aspect of hearing some kind of maybe disembodied voice or something like that, right? Now, that could happen for sure, but in most cases, what's going to happen is you're going to instead have thoughts in your mind that don't seem like they're your own. Now, we have to be careful with this, right? Because I'm not going into the realm of, different mental disabilities or disorders where you're hearing voices. Okay, we're not talking about that. That is not the case here for clairaudience. We have to be careful to make that distinction. And the quote unquote voices, so to speak, in your mind are more so, a lot of times, and for everyone it's going to be different, so I'm speaking on my own personal experience with clairaudience. It's going to be a thought in your mind, much like when you're reading a book and you imagine the characters' voices in your head. That's kind of the way I experience it. All right. Now, how do you know that the thoughts that you think are not yours are really not yours, or you just have a very big imagination? Great question. Good question. And it's always important to ask yourself this question as you practice, because you really want to distinguish between the various voices that we have within ourselves. We have the negative Nancy voice, that voice that always nags and tries to keep us down and keep us small. Okay, we have that kind of negative voice that says that you're this terrible person and you're going to fail, and right, that is a separate voice altogether, right? And we have to remember that voice comes from a place of fear and trying to keep you little and not grow, right? So, and when I say voice, I am speaking in general terms to include possibly audible voices, or just a thought in your mind, right? And we're talking more about, if anything, we're talking more about the thoughts in your mind, and how to distinguish between your own thoughts and a thought that is being transmitted almost telepathically. So I'll give you an example for me of how I learned how to distinguish over time. Over the years, when I was younger, I used to get confused between the negative voice that would always try to put me down and the voice that was trying to give me good advice, etc. And I just wouldn't know which one was right. Now, it comes down in many ways to a feeling, even if it's not necessarily like a physical feeling or anything that you feel in your gut. Some of you might get chills, some of you might get a feeling in your gut or something physically related. But some of you just are going to feel that it's correct without feeling it physically, if you know what I mean. It's just going to, it's going to have that sense of it being correct. So when the information comes through and you get those thoughts in your mind that you think may not be your own, you have to ask yourself, okay, what is the energy attached to this thought? Do I get an overall positive vibe or a negative vibe? When I think about this thought, does it put me in a low vibration or a low place or a low mood, or kind of feels wrong or it feels off? There's something off about it. Do you notice maybe your muscles tensing up? All of these would be indications that this is not coming from a higher place, and it could just very well be your ego playing tricks on you, your own mind, right? We are very complex beings. Now, what if it does feel right? What if it does feel good? What if it feels like, this is meant for my highest intentions? Then I would say that thought would be, your spirit guide perhaps, or your higher self, or an ancestor trying to bring this message forth. Now, how do you know where the message is coming from? That might take practice as well. And you can, in your mind or out loud, ask, where the message is coming from, only if you feel that it is coming from a place of love. And you have to kind of test it out and ask yourself these important questions to weigh out the pros and the cons. You also have to weigh out the questions of, did I just watch a movie and now I'm thinking about this character and, I somehow can't stop thinking about this character for whatever reason. So maybe I'm imagining, this interaction in my mind. So I encourage you to ask these kinds of questions and to rule anything like that out, so you really can get a better understanding of how your intuition works and, what your limitations are for grasping onto that message and being able to interpret it. It's important to know your limitations moving forward. When you learn where your limitations lie, then you can know exactly what help to ask in order to move forward, or you can look up how you can move forward from whatever that limitation is. So, namely clairaudient messages from your spirit guides, for instance, from beings of the light, are going to be maybe practical advice or good advice, like you're tired, you need to go get some sleep. That might just randomly pop in your mind. You might be thinking, well, I'm just talking to myself. It could be that you're just talking to yourself, but I want to ask you this important question in relation to that. Now, it's not only advice, it can be other positive messages or other interesting messages that come through, or it could be even a funny message from your spirit guide. Maybe your spirit guide is trying to tell you a joke and, something resonates within you and it feels like it's not from you and it feels like it's coming from a place of love, right? Okay. All right. The question that I wanted to ask you is this. When you are confronted with whatever this thought is, does it coincide with what you are doing? In other words, what were you thinking about if you were thinking about anything, maybe you kind of were just observing, maybe you're sitting outside and you're just observing the scenery or something like that. You weren't really thinking about anything. And all of a sudden this thought comes into your mind. So that's kind of where I'm going at with this. You know, what you are doing or what you are thinking about is often going to be, there's going to be something that will give you a clue to show, okay, actually this thought coming in does not coincide with the thoughts that I was having. Whereas I was actually really in a negative mood, and all of a sudden I just get this thought coming in my mind to say, you know, the thought was, cheer up, Buttercup, everything's going to be okay tomorrow, just take a break, maybe just take a step back. And you're like, what? Where did that thought come from? Was that me talking to myself? Did I watch a movie that was funny? Or maybe not. Maybe it was really, you know, your spirit guide or an ancestor, a loved one trying to give you a positive message and help you out a little bit in your day-to-day waking life, right? So you have to ask these important questions when you're talking about clairaudience, because it is a tricky one. You know, you have to be careful that, you know, you rule out any kind of mental health disorder, to be fair. And you also have to ask yourself the logical questions of, you know, what was I doing at the time? Am I obsessed about a character that just kind of, you know, happened to come into my head? Was I singing a song all morning and now it's stuck in my head? So I have the lyrics in my head. That's not necessarily going to be a message. Maybe it's just like the song, or it could be a message, but you have to feel it out. You know, does the thought coming in put me down? Does it feel like it's almost coming from my ego or from a place of fear and trying to keep me small? Okay, so then maybe that's not so much me tapping into, you know, something else, but just me, my brain kind of playing tricks on me. Okay. Or does the message coming through come from a place of love, or it could be advice or a joke or something comforting, or just something that is, you know, it could even be some people's spirit guides, like mine, for instance, can be very parental, and they like to make sure that you go, get on things, get things done. So if you resonate with that, maybe some of the messages from your spirit guides might come in while you're just kind of dilly-dallying away and you're not really doing much, and then all of a sudden you get this thought come in your mind like, you gotta get off your behind. Like, you know, you're late on that deadline. You gotta get it done. That could be a memory, that could be your own thoughts, but what I would say is just weigh it out and see, does it reflect what you were thinking of at the time, or does it just kind of randomly come from nowhere? All right. And as far as the clairaudience is concerned, this is not just when we're talking about communication with spirits. This is also can be communication with other people, and then we get into the realm a little bit of telepathy, and which is very similar to clairaudience in many respects, and I'm going to do a future video on telepathy that might be of interest to you. So if you're clairaudient, you may be telepathic as well, and this would just be a very similar thing, the ability to read and communicate through your thoughts. So you can pay attention to maybe the thoughts that you receive from nonverbal beings, like animals, for instance. Okay, I remember, and here I'll give you some examples. I remember I don't know what I was doing. I was looking at my cat, I guess. I was sitting in front of my cat and looking at my cat, a family cat, a few years ago. And then I just got this voice in my mind, like not a physical voice that I can hear, but more in you know, like when you're reading a character in a book, right? And you imagine the voice in your head. So it's kind of like that, but it was like this sort of like lighter, higher pitched cat-like voice, right? And it said something to the effect of, pet me on my head, or please pet me on my head, or scratch the top of my head. And it was just so random because it was just this random thought that came through my mind. And so I looked at my cat and I scratched her on the top of her head, and she was just in love. She was like, oh my goodness. It was like, you can tell she was looking at me and she just wanted me to scratch her on her head. And finally when I did it seemed like she was just swooning. She was so happy that I listened to her message that she sent me. Okay, when I do readings, for instance, when I do tarot readings or oracle card readings or whatever, when I'm just channeling in general, I use different psychic abilities in combination, of course. But one of my strongest gifts is my clairaudient abilities. And so I'll just quote unquote, right, because I'm not actually hearing a physical voice or anything like that. It's more just a thought. When I relay messages to you, a lot of the times it will be sort of just this thought that was kind of, it feels like the thought is being implanted in my mind. And of course, in relation to the reading, I have learned over the years to feel it out pretty quickly, whether it's good information or not good information. And sometimes I'll even hold off on sharing the information that I receive because I just don't know if it's accurate. And so I wait a little bit to just kind of weigh out that thought with my logical reasoning, and I kind of do a quick checklist. And then when the thought persists or it feels right, I will come out and share it with you. That doesn't happen for every single thought because that would be pretty exhausting if I did that. But it can happen on a very subconscious level and pretty rapidly. And I've learned to do that over time, but just by tuning into the energy, the vibration of the thought itself. So the other thing that I know I'm a little bit all over the place, and please forgive me for that. But the other thing that I do want to mention is if you do have a ringing in your ears that just kind of comes out of nowhere, that could be a very strong indication that you are clairaudient and that you have very strong budding clairaudient abilities, or that you are already a very strong clairaudient person in general. Another indication. And so, sorry, I'll talk about the ringing right now. So the ringing in your ears, what is that all about? Now, I think it could mean something different for everyone, but the intuition that I received coming through about the ringing in your ears is when you're basically, you're raising your frequency to a different vibration, which matches the frequency from, another dimension, right, where you'll have your spirit guides who can then come in and speak to you or relay a message. And so like a radio station tuning in, like if you think of, when you're changing the channels, you have to tune into the frequency, right, of the channel itself. So we're going to use the analogy of the radio here for a clairaudience and tuning into the right frequency when you have the ringing in your ears. So basically what is happening when you do have that ringing in your ears, you are tuning in to a certain frequency like a radio, and all of a sudden you hear that shift in vibration. Okay. And of course, rule out any other medical conditions, tinnitus or ear infections that you might have. That's really important. But if if you're medically or you're physically very healthy, there's nothing wrong structurally going on with your hearing or anything like that, then you may consider that the ringing in your ears is actually you tuning into a higher frequency, and you are basically connecting with spirits beyond the veil. Now, I've often thought, okay, am I going to get to a point where the ringing becomes something else? Like, does it ever become a word or some voices? Now, I have had a few rare occasions where I did hear a random word. But I don't know if it was so much physical. It would happen when I was in an in-between, you know, that in-between sleep and awake? So either falling into sleep or just before waking up, that in-between stage. That's where I would hear something. And oftentimes when this would happen to me, it might have been in relation to the dream I was having, or it could, or not necessarily, but it was often just nonsensical, like just like random gibberish or just random words. So I actually don't really understand what that's all about. Maybe some of you have had an experience where you know what I'm talking about. So comment down below. We can relate and connect on that point. But yeah, I haven't. It's more often than not that I have just, you know, random thoughts in my mind, and so when I channel spirit, when I channel, you know, spirit guides in particular, your spirit guides, in order to relay messages, you know, it happens more and more fluidly. So I'll just be, it's almost hard to describe. I'll be sitting here and it's almost like I hear something in the back of my mind, almost like far away, like a far away thought, like, but almost a thought that's sort of like, it's almost like the vibration of the thought feels like it's taking over the back of my head. Like as if the vibration of that thought is cupping my head. So does that, I hope maybe that makes sense. And if you've had that experience, then, you know, tune into that feeling, that energy, and that thought, because it may be trying to, you know, that may be your clairaudient abilities kicking in there. So it feels like that. I've described the experience as well as having my head in a fishbowl. You know, it's almost like it's an odd experience to describe. Like I can be talking to someone, you know, let's say I'm doing a reading and I'm talking to someone, and as I'm talking to them, I'm trying to focus on, you know, the information that I'm relaying to them or what they're telling me, and all of a sudden, you know, I get like, you know, think of like as if you're on the phone and then there's someone in the background trying to say like, tell them this and tell them that and tell them I say hi, and tell them don't forget, you know, to bring over the pot roast because, you know, a lot of people are coming over. Like, I don't know what kind of example I'm tuning into here. Maybe some of you are having a small gathering, like an Uvind friendly gathering. I don't know. I don't know. That was an odd thought. But anyway, yes. So, yeah, it's like having someone else's, like, yeah, I guess that's the best way of describing it. It's like having, it's like feeling that there's a cup, almost cupping the back of my head over my ears. It's kind of a weird thing to describe, but sort of a cup, or sorry, I'm thinking maybe a bit more a bowl, right? And then as it happens, it's like my mind is sort of being hijacked by whatever the thought is. Like someone else's thought is running through my mind. And how do I experience this? I experience this in a few different ways. I have experienced this as being very, very comforting, especially growing up as a little girl when I used to be afraid of the dark, and then I would have, you know, this soothing thought, right? My clairaudience kicking in, saying not to worry, you're protected, everything's okay, things like that. So, I guess from the outside looking in, you might say that I was a child who engaged in a lot of self-soothing behaviors, you know, being afraid of the dark and all of that. And then I managed to find ways to sleep through it and get past my fears. And this is very much thanks to my clairaudient abilities. It's like having It's like having another being sort of coexist within you in a sense. I don't know if that sounds kind of weird. And it's not like that all the time, but when I'm being spoken to, if it sounds very formal. You're being spoken to. Your spirit guides have a message. Listen now. The powers that be. No, thankfully my spirit guides are not they're pretty grounded and nice and down to earth, which I am grateful for. They're not so high and mighty like that. Although some of them are, I may have a dragon spirit guide who's, but come on. I mean, dragons, like, we'll give him that, right? They're pretty badass, so we'll give them that arrogance. They can take it. For all their wisdom, they can have a little arrogance. We'll give them. No, my dragon spirit guide is wonderful, and I love him very much. But anyway, clairaudience. Let's see, what else can I share with you about clairaudience? With the ringing in your ears, back to that. I often hear other psychics say, pay attention to the thought that is going through your mind. Oh, that makes sense. I don't know why it's taken me so long to just figure that out. I just figured out why that's important now. We're talking about thoughts going on in your mind and, from maybe another being or your spirit guide or whatever. And now I finally connect why it's important to pay attention to the thought going on in your mind when you have this ringing in your ears. It's almost like, your spirit guides are watching you getting caught up in maybe a worried thought or a something where they know that if they try to transmit a message through your thoughts, you'll be so preoccupied thinking about other things you won't even notice that thought coming through, or you'll dismiss it. So when you get the ringing in your ears, it's like, pay attention to this thought. It's like hijacking your mind a bit. So you're like, what's this random sound taking over my ears? And then all of a sudden you think about that thought that you're having or that's coming through right after. So it kind of forces you to stop thinking about all your worries, and then when you can stop, all of that stuff, all that toxic mental activity can clear away, and then you can access the thought that wants to come through, which is, maybe saying, hey, just relax, everything's going to be all right, or, hey, just a little bit of patience, maybe, it didn't pick up today, but it's going to pick up tomorrow, whatever it is that we're talking about. So that's a little bit about clairaudience. It's a little bit about a spiel about clairaudience. Now, we are ready for the choices for the pick a card, quote unquote, / channel the message reading. Before we do, let's just do a quick little meditation here to tune into our question, tune into our energies, and we're going to do a little practice. All right, so I want you to breathe in deeply, exhale, and breathe in, and exhale. Inhale and let it all go. Exhale. Very good, very nice. Ooh, I feel a little lightheaded. I don't know about you guys, but I feel kind of relaxed. So, I'm going to lose my train of thought if I get too relaxed here. I'm going to give you a moment of silence, and I want you to tap into your mental chatter. See which thoughts are yours, which thoughts feel like yours, which thoughts feel like something else. And if it's something else, does it come from a place of fear or does it come from a place of love? If it comes from a place of fear, nothing to fear, my dear. Just package it up, put it aside, say thanks for coming, but I'm going to focus on something else right now. I'm going to focus on the truth. Goodbye. And that's all you have to do when that happens. So try it out, test it out, and tune in. And yeah, write in the comments below if you do get any interesting downloads or clairaudient messages that you feel comfortable sharing. All right, let's get it. And wonderful. Okay, I hope you got some interesting messages there, some good messages, and I'm going to give you 3 options for the pick a card. Let's see here. All right. Okay. And very random choices. All right. Let's see if I can even just show you those choices. Okay, so we have 1 with this star, plastic little star thingy. 2 with this rock and the word dream on it. And 3 with this gigantic beauty of a crystal. Why is it that I always forget the name of this crystal every single time? I keep wanting to say fuchsia, but it's not. It's starts with an F. Fluorite. Fluorite. I feel like, I feel like some of you were like, fluorite! And then I might have said it right after, and you're like, how did she hear me? It's Dora the Explorer, everybody! Except about psychic abilities. Alright, let's start with number 1. Okay, number 1. Number 1, I'm being guided to pull a rune for you right off the bat. Actually, very interesting, very odd. I have a little bonus for you. Number 1, just a really random thing. I have a little pendulum here. Okay. I'm going to ask you to ask the pendulum a yes or no question. Maybe you had a yes or no question. Just ask whatever yes or no question you want. And you'll see the pendulum swinging. Don't worry about which direction it's going in. I'll tell you, if it goes this way, then actually I should probably do this here. If it goes this way, then it's a yes. And if it goes this way, then it's a no. Now, I was swinging the pendulum, so I needed to stop it in order for it to stop, but I won't be swinging it. I will keep my hand immobile. But it doesn't really matter what I literally do with my hand or not at the end of the day. Your energy, your intuition has guided you to this reading, this video, to number 1. So intuitively, you already know the answer, don't you? Okay, let's see. All right, go ahead, ask your question. And the pendulum is going. Oh, and that's a resounding yes. So I hope you asked a question that you wanted a yes for. If not, know that whatever is happening for the highest good for you and for all. But yes is your answer. Whoa, that's like a huge swing. Yes is your answer. All right, you see that? It's stopping because I asked it to stop. It's like, wow, the pendulum stops. How magical. Well, actually, it's just because I have to put it away. But anyway, yes for your yes or no question. But don't worry, the reading is not over. I have some runes, or one rune to pull out for you at least. Okay, I'm gonna pull out a rune. This one likes to come out. Okay, there's two that want to come out. So now I'm not as familiar with the runes. I don't know the symbols off by heart. And I have this little booklet with a bunch of keywords. So I'm just going to guide my eye to whatever keywords I feel intuitively drawn to for you. So this is Othala, and then we'll derive an interpretation from there, because only keywords for runes. I'm not sure why. Othala relates to, Othala means ancestral property. You know, is there something with an ancestral piece of land, or a sacred land, or property, or a house that's been in the family name for a long time? Do you know, are you trying to keep it or sell it, or you know, I don't know. Something with an ancestral property. Do you need to go visit this ancestral property or land? There's something going on. Let's take a look. Now, I may not have the answer for you in this reading, but hopefully that resonates with you. Let's take a look at some of the other. Yeah, it seems, okay, inherited property. So are you inheriting a property? Are you inheriting a piece of land? Are you even inheriting some kind of land that has to do with a tradition being passed down from generation to generation? There's something traditionally coming through with a property or a home or something like that. A piece of land. Okay, so for you, something about, are you trying to maybe even open some kind of business through a property that is a sacred property? Okay, something like, it's a lot about abundance and group and land of birth. Your ancestors, you are very connected to your ancestors group, number one, and they are trying to communicate to you. That's how they communicate. So as far as your clairaudient abilities are concerned, your ancestors communicate to you through your gift of clairaudience. So really pay attention to your thoughts. Really pay attention to which ones are yours and which ones feel like they're not. Also, some people, you know, when they think of, when they have these downloads or these spiritual communications, the thoughts that are not theirs sound like they're in their own voice. I think this really, at the end of the day, depends on the kind of person you are, and whether you have a big imagination or not. I tend to imagine that they're, you know, the different voices coming through. So, for example, my dragon spirit guide is going to have like this low, very commanding voice. Whereas one of my fairy guides might have a little bit of a voice, right? So that's just how I interpret that energy in my mind. That's not necessarily, that doesn't mean that that's necessarily what they sound like. Even at the end of the day, we always need to doubt, and we don't know for sure, but pay attention to those thoughts. And if you do have, like, if you do feel a difference in vibration of sound and voice within your head, you know, not literally physically hearing necessarily, but, you know, in your thoughts, pay attention. That might be a nice indication that, hey, this isn't your thought, this is actually coming from somewhere else. And you might say, well, I'm just imagining it, but then you have to ask yourself, again, with the advice that I gave before, you know, weigh the thought out with, does it feel like your thought? Did it coincide with what you were thinking about before? Yes, no, maybe so, and then you can kind of go from there, right? All right, so yeah, your ancestors. Your ancestors are very connected to you, so pay attention to that. They try to communicate to you through your thoughts, and they might be communicating to you in regards to a property. There might be some important information that they have to share with you. Let me see if I can tap in if this pertains to anyone, and if it doesn't pertain to you, then, take what resonates and the rest, let it go. But I'm just going to tap in and see if there's any clairaudient messages coming in for me that your ancestors might want you to. I'm really sorry if I'm laughing, but your ancestors are very interesting people. They have spitfire energy. They have very vibrant, powerful energy, with a little bit of sense of humor thrown in the mix, and very, very blunt. If that doesn't sound right, then maybe I wasn't tapping into your ancestors, but I was tapping into someone's ancestors. And for the most part, I think the group, would resonate with these ancestors who are a little bit more blunt and maybe in your face. I'm not going to repeat exactly what they said, but they're very blunt, and they said something to the effect of you need to check your own messages. I can't be. I'm sorry. It may just be late, and I may be too I kind of get kooky at night at times, but so the thought that came in was okay, there's nothing wrong with your brain. You can do it yourself, is what I'm hearing. You know very well that you're capable of doing this. And then the other thought that I was laughing at, I forgot why it was funny. There was another thought that I forgot to share. I like their energy a lot. They tell it like it is. They don't want me to baby you and give you a message that you are very capable of tuning in and tapping into for yourself. But the one message that does come through is, please pay attention to your thoughts surrounding a property or a land. For a lot of you, it's going to be a property, though. So anyway, if that doesn't resonate, hey, then I don't know what I'm saying. But if I connected with some of you and that did make sense, then that's pretty cool. Let me know in the comments below. But we haven't finished. We have more. There is another rune. So we have Awaz. I like saying that one. Awaz. Okay, let's take a look. Something about traveling. There's something about moving. Moving homes. Are you moving to a family home? Something about changing locations, transportation, travel. And this idea of working with others. I'm feeling you have to work with your ancestors. Your ancestors are trying to help you consolidate a home. It's like your ancestors want you to be well taken care of and to pay attention to their messages, because they're trying to help you kind of settle a property or figure out some kind of a living situation or something to do with, your home life or your home situation or something. Yeah, something within your home. It may not even be an ancestral property that has been handed down, but your ancestors, okay, I might be mixing up those messages then. Your ancestors are trying to help you within your living situation. So that is the specific messages within the home. They want you to have a happy life, a happy marriage, a happy partnership, a happy family. And it says that this rune reinforces the meanings of the runes around it. And then this rune was all about, connecting with your ancestors, this property, this home. And we do mention transportation here. And then I didn't read that with Othala, but there was a mention of transportation as well. Interesting. And travel. So something to do with traveling, and pay attention to messages concerning traveling and a home, and that your ancestors are trying to help you figure out. So many people could be tuning in. So the message could be that you're moving to a new home, you're moving to your ancestral home, or that your ancestors are simply trying to send you messages about how to improve your current living situation at home. Something to do with traveling, though, so moving on with your life, moving forward with your life, closing out a cycle. Getting to a better place, basically, either physically or metaphysically, or metaphorically speaking, right? Take your pick, whichever one resonates the most. But there is a movement towards a better place, and there is something to do with home and home life and where you live. Home is where the heart is what I'm coming through. That might be an important message for some of you, if not all of you. Spirit's kind of correcting me there. Home is where the heart is. Are you happy at home? Is your heart in it? Is your heart there? No. Where is your home? Where is your heart? Where will that be? Kind of thing. Home is where the heart is. So find out where your heart is, and you found your home. Boom. Wow. I like that. I like that. Find out where your heart is, and you'll find your home. Don't ask me where that comes from. I can't take credit for that message. That might be your spirit guides coming through. Through me? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I am coming up with it. I don't know anymore. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes it is confusing, and that may be an important message for some of you, that, sometimes you're going to get it, sometimes you're not going to get it, and sometimes you're not going to understand which is which. Is it my thought? Is it another thought? And then in those moments, it's important just to kind of not take yourself too seriously and laugh at yourself. And at the end of the day, whether it's your thought or another thought or whatever, is the thought helpful? Does it give you positivity? Does it help you calm down? Does it give you reassurance? If it does those things, then who cares where it comes from? Catch my drift? All right. I hope you like the video, and I hope you like the reading, and I look forward to connecting with you in a future video. Okay. Number 2 with dream. Pay attention to your dreams. I mean, that's the obvious message coming through for you. Number 2, pay attention to your dreams, your clairaudient abilities. I talked about the stage between sleep and awake. This is where you're getting a lot of your claircognizant messages, because that is when you are the most open spiritually, right? You're in that in-between stage. So you're in a stage of non-questioning and just acceptance of what's coming through. You notice that? We have the weirdest dreams, and we never really question the bizarre occurrences that we experience in dreams. We just accept them for what they are. And so that is why, in that state, Spirit tries to come to you, because you'll be less afraid, less closed off, more open, more accepting, not as judgmental and questioning of the messages coming through. Although you should always question and take everything with a grain of salt. So anyway, that's a little bit of a blab for you. But yes, you do connect in your dreams. And if you don't remember, try to keep a dream journal, and when you have a thought come in, try and write it down in regards to your dream, like if you remember your dream type of thing. Anyway, and it could also, for some of you, we could be talking about dreams here. Like creating your reality. Your spirit guides, I'm getting, try to connect with you through your thoughts in order to give you motivation and encouragement to accomplish your dreams. That's the other message. That's the more prominent message, actually. I had to kind of talk it through. Sometimes I need to talk things through before the most accurate message comes about. So my ramble is actually productive for me. But yeah, you might resonate with both messages. But for the most part, the most pertinent message is that your spirit guides and ancestors as well, loved ones. I mean, you're getting there's a mixed bag here of higher vibrational spirits that are trying to communicate with you through your thoughts, in order for you to find more motivation to follow your dream and stick to it, I'm hearing. I'm going to pull out a tarot card. I'm going to shuffle the deck. I'm being called to take a look and see what comes out for you. All right. One more card, I'm being told. See, I'm using my clairaudient abilities actively, and so I don't really know. Sometimes I actually get them mixed up. Claircognizance and clairaudience, since they both happen in the mental sphere, I sometimes get confused about which is which. When I just have a knowing, I say, oh, it's my clairaudient abilities, but anyhow. Something came through to say one more card, so that's okay if you get your abilities mixed up sometimes. I'm sorry for the noise. My dog is scratching the carpet. I don't know why. I actually, okay, I'm not gonna go down there. I'm babbling again. This is not good. Okay, we're gonna stick to the cards. Sorry. 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups. 3 of Wands. The Tower. Okay. What I'm getting with the Tower is stop. Stop this nonsense. Stop this charade. Something needs to end. Something needs to come to an end. You've been at this long enough. There's a little bit of an impatience and almost an irritation with some of your spirit guides, saying you've been doing this over and over again. There's no need for you to do this because success is on the way, and I'm blocking this Tower for you because it's like you've had your Tower moment. That's what I'm getting. It's the past already. You know, you're done with that Tower moment. And if you are going through a Tower moment, this could be confirmation that it is coming to an end. The tides are turning, and you are being asked to follow your dreams. 10 of Cups. We have accomplishment, celebration, you know, surrounding some kind of a victory, or people are celebrating you for some reason. So you need to acknowledge that you are already moving into the celebratory stage. You don't need to have your, you know, spy cam on at all times, just looking at everybody from the bushes, kind of making sure that everyone's okay and trustworthy, you know, acting super paranoid. Just, you know, you need to stop that. You know, if people are negative, walk away, right? If they're toxic in your life, maybe it's time to walk away from them. You can't keep going back and trying to fix and fix and fix something or someone that doesn't want to be fixed. I know I said something. I don't think that things have a will of whether they want to be fixed or not, but anyway, you know what I'm trying to say here, right? So yes, time to move on. Time to do you. Time to get this opportunity that is coming your way. Okay, this celebration, this movement away from this. This has gone on for too long. Leave it in the background. Leave it in the past. It's time to do this now. Accept the opportunity coming forward. This is your dream coming in. This is your dream opportunity. Your dream opportunity is coming in. And your guides, your spirit team, they're trying to communicate with you through your clairaudient abilities, through your thoughts, to keep that motivation alive. So you keep going towards your goal, and you will get there. You will get there. I know. That some of you may not believe me or believe that message, and that's fine. You know, I get it. You'll see it, and then you'll believe it. It'll happen, and you'll know. But there's a little bit of a warning with that, because don't forget that you have more power than you think. If you just sit around saying, I'll see when I believe it. Sorry, it's the other way around. I'll believe it when I see it. If you keep just sitting back and doing that. then you're not going to be doing anything to make it happen. So you have to, this is an active effort I'm hearing, where you have to actively pay attention to your thoughts. You have to actively focus on the future and the opportunities coming in and your dream and your goal. What your spirit guides are asking you is tough. They know it's hard. They know it hasn't been easy. They know it's been very difficult, actually. I don't know why, but I'm being drawn to, ow, this is so hot. Oh, burning my hand. Okay, not very, it's like this metal little, ugh, it's hot. Okay, I'm being drawn to show you this amethyst. I really don't know why. I have no idea, but I'm being guided to show you this amethyst right now. I'm going to leave this amethyst right there. Amethyst is all about psychic protection, enhancing your spiritual abilities. Something about your spiritual abilities being enhanced. Trust them, because what they serve a purpose. Those abilities serve the purpose to guide you and others on the right path. And in a lot of cases, I'm hearing career path comes. Like somehow your spiritual abilities are going to help you guide other people on their career paths or on their life purpose, their life mission. You may be a coach or someone who gives advice, or maybe you've been wanting to. Your abilities are going to help you very strongly in this. And then that amethyst is important because since you're going to be dealing with people, you may be dealing with others, you need that psychic protection. If you're dealing with other entities, other spirits, you also need that psychic protection. You want to keep yourself around good, high vibrational beings. And you want to move forward with positivity towards your goals. So for you, it's about keeping a very strong mindset, even though you've been through a lot, even though you've had a lot of stuff thrown your way and you're exhausted. You may be very exhausted at this point. If you need to take a break, take a small one. Your spirit guides are extremely, they're very pushing. The spirit guides coming through today and all in both this reading and the first reading have been very much, in your face. They are not afraid to kind of light that. It's interesting, I touched this and it's hot. They're not afraid to light a little fire under your butt in order for you to get up and go. They want you to go towards your success. They see it for you, but you don't see it very clearly. And especially if you have more clairaudient abilities, it can be a very frustrating process to not be able to see it. You have to pay attention to your thoughts instead. Right? Not everybody gets visions. In religious texts, for example, you have prophets who have visions. Not everybody experiences vision. Some people have thoughts. Some people just have a knowing. Some people have a feeling. Not everyone has a vision. Don't worry if you don't have a vision. If you're not sure, just pay attention to your thoughts. Are they positive coming through? Do they offer you reassurance and good advice? Then pay attention. If they don't, say, sayonara, suckers. Because I'm not going to listen to you today. Just listen to the thoughts that are positive. Now, when I say positive, it doesn't necessarily mean that they give you, how do I put it? Like sometimes some of my spirit guides can be a little cynical, but in like a fun, comical kind of way, like a sarcastic kind of way. And they do that because I enjoy that kind of sense of humor sometimes. So they do that to relate to me, and that's also kind of who they are. But that's different. That's not necessarily being negative. That's just kind of having a good laugh and relieving some tension. So, as long as the message coming through comes from a place of love, and you feel that vibration of love and care, and someone being on your side, team member, right? Teaming up with others, with spirit, with positive people. If you feel that sense of solidarity or camaraderie, then you're good. Then pay attention to those positive messages. That's what I mean by positive messages. All right, so this has been your reading. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I have. And maybe you have some other clairaudient messages coming through with that amethyst stone. Anyhow, I look forward to reading for you in a future video. All right. Number three. I'm being guided to start off with the tarot right away for you. So I'm going to shuffle the deck, and you can go ahead and ask your question in regards to clairaudience, and we'll see what comes out. Number 3. And no, I'm sorry. So that was I was listening to my clairaudient abilities, and I pulled that card out, and it said, no, this is a false card. It's not kind of a weird thing to say? Like, obviously it's a card. It's not fake. It's actually a card. But that was the message that I got in my head. This is a false card. In other words, it could have been my interpretation that was off. This is not the this is not the card for you. I'm going to actually keep that card on the side and talk about it, because it was interesting. I did take a glance at it just now. So you have number 3, you have the Tower. Interesting. Okay, so number 2, you might want to check out number 2 as well if you feel drawn to number 2. But if not, you can stay within this reading. The Queen of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles, and I'll show you the extra card in a moment, momentarily. Okay. So what I'm getting here is interesting. Okay, so my clairaudient abilities here are kind of, I'm connecting with those, and my spirit guides, or your spirit guides, or I don't know, the message coming through is that number 3s are, you know, definitely getting another confirmation to check out the reading for number 2 as well as this one, because this is just another dimension of number 2, where it gives a little bit more information. Some of you, it would, you know, number 2 wouldn't apply, but if you feel drawn to look at number 2, then please, by all means, do so, and you'll get some more juicy details. Okay, so Tower. I'm actually being directed to look at the Queen of Pentacles first. I wanted to start off with the Tower, but I'm going to start off with the Queen of Pentacles. So for you, what I'm getting is it's really hard for you sometimes to decipher between different thoughts in your mind. So kind of asking you to do that seems like an almost impossible feat to a certain extent, because you get very confused with some of the negative thoughts coming through, your own thoughts, and you have so much activity in your mind that, you know, you're not always open to receiving other messages. You do have clairaudient abilities, though. They're just kind of blocked right now. You're questioning. You might be more practically minded as well, so it's harder for you to make space for that kind of free-flowing, random, spontaneous intuition that might come through. That's not necessarily the case for everyone. It could just be that you're an overthinker and you're blocking that. You're blocking that, you know, voice of reason, reassurance, positivity. Now, I'm actually being directed to show you the card that was the fake card. I don't know why that, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me, but maybe it will in a moment. So you have the Hanged Man. Okay. So it's a fake card because the Hanged Man is all about waiting. That's not the right time and that you should wait. But this is a fake card. You think that it's not the right time. You keep waiting for something or for something to happen, and by golly, it is the right time. You need to move forward now. Spirit is very forthright in saying that it is time to move forward with your plans. Put them in action. Spirit is actually, okay, interesting. The Tower comes through in a very different way for you here. Actually, the number 2, but number 2 might still be interesting for some of you. So the Tower in number 2 talked about, the typical meaning of having a tower moment, which is when things are sort of falling apart in your day-to-day. The structural kind of organization of how everything works is just kind of coming undone, and we call that a tower moment. It can be very traumatic and dramatic. In this case, we do have a little bit of that. We do have, I'm feeling multiple different messages coming through. For all of you, but just I'm getting multiple different messages for the same cards. Okay, so the multiple messages are, the first message here is that you're experiencing a tower moment and you just want it to end, but you're actually prolonging it through your wait. You're afraid to go back to what it is that you experienced. You're afraid to have another tower moment, but the tarot is actually reminding you that everything is going to be okay. You have prepared so well because of the eventuality of another tower moment that, not only are you going to be able to survive through the next chapter of your life, but you are going to be able to thrive. Now, this will only come about once you get out of what I'm hearing is sort of poor woman or poor man's mentality, right? You may have gained a lot of money in the recent days. Maybe you've worked hard. Maybe you've done a lot of saving, done a lot of penny pinching because, times are rough and times are tough. And you're still in this mindset that you don't have this mindset of lack, but actually you have a lot. You have a lot. And if we're not talking about finances, you have a lot of something. You have an abundance, but it is related to the physical in many ways. Okay. The other message that I'm getting. All right, the tower. We're gonna get the tower and have that fall down, because you know what? We don't need this tower moment anymore. This tower moment is gone. Kaput. Get out of here, tower. You're not welcome anymore. Well, actually, we do have to thank the tower moment. It's thanks to the tower moment that we can move forward. As traumatic as the incidents are or were, it's thanks to the tower moment that we can make way for this abundance, my friend. Abundance. I'm not sure what it is that you can't see, but the abundance is right there. It's like right in front of you. But you're like, oh, no, I can't, there must be another way. And then Spirit's like, what are you talking about, another way? So with clairaudience, what's coming through is Spirit is saying, wait a minute. Actually, I'm going to take the tower out for a moment. Wait a minute. What are you talking about? What are you talking about that it's not here? It's right here in front of you. I'm getting that you're okay. This is going to kind of seem scary for some of you. And I get you, I understand, but trust me, it's beautiful and it's not scary at all. You're partly blocking your psychic ability of clairaudience because you're afraid that once you open the door completely, a bunch of things are going to come through and you're going to be bombarded. Perhaps this ability was open in the past when you were a child and it scared you because of all the information and downloads you were getting and, communications you were getting with Spirit. And Spirit is saying, you're older now, you're more mature, you're more grounded, you're more emotionally stable. you're fine, you can handle it, just open the door, because once you do, we're coming in. What? Scary. Oh my God, it's like a stampede coming in. It's a little overwhelming. It almost feels like you open the door and then there's this stampede of energy just coming down the hallway, and you're like, oh my God, 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 oh my God. And they're like just coming towards you, all the spirits that want to speak to you. And they're just like surrounding you, and they're saying, okay, I have to tell you something, and I have to talk now. Okay, they're all talking at the same time, but that's the image that I get. That's using my clairvoyant abilities. I'm feeling that you might want to check out clairvoyant abilities as well, because your clairaudient and clairvoyant abilities might work in tandem with one another. So you can check out that video that I posted a little while back. You can choose which spirits you want to work with. There are a lot of spirits that want to work with you, but remember, it's just like anything. It's just like any exchange, any interaction, any business for that matter. You work with the clients that you want to work with. You choose. You choose which spirits you want to work with. You are not forced to work with anyone or anything. You choose. So I would also recommend that you watch the video on psychic protection, because I think that's going to give you a little bit more of an understanding of how to take care of yourself, since you're actually a very sensitive person in terms of, connection to energies and spirit and all that. You're just kind of blocking that energy with a lot of fear and anxiety at what is going to happen when you do finally connect. Some of us, we are actually, we block ourselves and we limit ourselves because we are afraid of our own power. We are afraid of stepping into our own power. This could be linked to a number of reasons. Maybe in past lives we abused our power, and we don't want that to happen again. Or we saw other people around us abuse their power. Or we know that when we step into our power, we're going to be so strong that we don't know if we'll be able to control ourselves. And we're afraid of what we might be able to do. Or we're afraid of the positivity that might come into our lives because it'll be so foreign to what we're used to, and we won't trust it. So there's a lot of reasons why why we don't step into our power, why there are a lot of people who prefer to just, be sheep and follow. But I'm getting that, even if you want to be a sheep, you're not a sheep. Even if you try to be a sheep, even if you try to fit into the mold of society and, try to be like everybody else, Spirit is going to keep bugging you. Spirit's going to keep knocking at your door. And I'm also getting that you might get certain headaches, and these headaches come about when you keep trying to block off the messages, the clairaudient messages coming through. I want you to think about that for a moment. See if anything comes through. I'm just going to take a sip of water. All right, did you get anything juicy come through? So you got a lot of little things to do. I feel like your energy is actually quite scattered. You need to, I recommend watching some guided meditation videos. I don't know why Headspace comes to mind. There's a whole little thing about Headspace on Netflix now. It's an app that you can download, and I think it might be helpful to you to stay in the moment, especially if you're a busy person. I think Headspace offers like 5-minute meditations or even less, so you might like that. It might be more of a more practical for you. But yes, you are very powerful, very connected. You act as a channel for spirit, even though you try to block off that energy, and you certainly are clairaudient. You're just confused with all the thoughts going on in your mind, and you're afraid of really letting yourself go with the flow of the divine, because that is some intense energy to behold. And we may feel more comfortable dealing with the the 3D. 3D may offer us some comfort. So if you feel overwhelmed, I recommend that you do take good naps, sleep well, spend time in nature, connect with the physical, create good, positive, healthy relationships. But make sure that you do connect with spirit as well, because if you don't, you might, not that they're sending you headaches, but you're creating headaches, because it's like you're blocking off a part of something that you do naturally. You're not allowing it to be. It's like if you were to I guess the best example I have is if you were to be in the dark all the time, and then all of a sudden you see light and the light hurts your eyes. It's a little bit of that shock. So what you're doing is you're keeping yourself in this sort of lower vibration with just your worries and a lot of your thoughts circulating in your mind. And then you get the headache because you have that juxtaposition between what's going on in your mind and then spirit trying to come through, because there's that disconnect. So because of that disconnect and because of that block, you're actually creating a lot of tension, as sort of I almost feeling like the energy kind of reverberating, around your head, creating a lot of tension. It needs to be released. That energy is yours. It's who you are. This is who you are. You are a channel. You are clairaudient, whether whether you are keen to that idea or not. Is besides the point. Unfortunately, for better or for worse, it is a gift. Spirit does recognize that it has been a curse in a lot of ways in your life at times, but they're asking you to slow down. They said in no way, shape, or form do they want to bombard you or to create any pain or wreak any havoc in your life. They do encourage you to find a way to take care, to protect yourself psychically. Some of them are saying that you should listen to the video that I posted. Others are saying just find a psychic protection practice that works for you, whether you watch my video or not. And, go with what your intuition tells you. But they want to help you. They don't want to talk at you or work against you or make you feel overwhelmed. And if you do feel overwhelmed, they say that all you have to do is just ask for them to give you a little bit of space. And then they will come to you when you have opened that space up for them again. They just worry about you. That's why they're around you. And then you get frustrated and they get confused because they're like, do I help? Do I not help? She or he, I don't know who you are. I'm just seeing that there's the Queen of Pentacles here. So that was just my default. But she or he, right, or whomever is having a hard time, and your spirit guides are coming in trying to help you, and then you block that energy because you get frustrated. And so they're just trying to kind of be there for you and do their job, so to speak, but it's more than just their job because they care about you a lot. And then you block it, so they're not sure if you wanted them. It's like your energy was calling out to them, but then you say that you don't want them around, so you're not sure what you want. They think you do want them around, you're just afraid to connect with them, or blocking them off for whatever reason. And they want you to open up, but they also want to tell you that you make the rules. You have to set a lot of tongue twisters today. You have to set your boundaries, and you have to let others know who is all right for coming in and who is not all right for coming in. That was a very clear message there. I'm sorry, that was another little sip of my water, but yeah. W.A. Yes, you need to take good care of your mental activity by grounding and spending time with more maybe lighthearted topics as well. And when you do that, when you give yourself that space to relax and you're ready to open up to spirit, the messages coming through are going to be searingly accurate. That's what I got. searingly accurate, and a lot of people will come up to you for advice. Very, very cool. So I hope you enjoyed the reading, and I look forward to connecting with you in a future video.